Welcome back, Guardians. My name is Samlab. Once again, the primordial coiling of the Winnower constricts us again. Don't worry, I have plans to trudge into the full dichotomy and machinations of our fifth dimensional deity, and rightly so. The witness has peered at us through a metaphorical magnifying glass for eons. Before the first tick of time ran in the garden, there was nothing but the gardener and the winnower playing their games of what if and what might be. It has been a little over 72 hours since Monuments of Triumph was released, and 2 cutscenes have been unlocked. This isn't a community-driven unlockable, but rather a cinematic drawing of the curtains for this part of the story. Guardians can only unlock said cutscene by completing an entire 7 subcategory of triumphs. Not an easy feat, I might add, but one that should bring you lots of joy for many, many hours. But before we go any further, here is a look at the cutscene itself.
Hello, my good chum. There's blood on our hands, isn't there? From this little spat. Even they know it. That our meeting is inevitable. The Eternal Nine. Big deal. Between you and me, who isn't? You know, the pieces they want you to knock down are already set. Ending with me. Showdown at the end of time between champions of dark and light. That's why they courted you. Impress their own importance upon you. They need your violence because I exist. But they don't get to put you on hold and walk away. Drag those 8 egos back in. Do what you do best. Impose your will. That's what a weapon's for, after all. End it on your terms. This is what you wanted, isn't it? In your heart of hearts. Don't worry. When it's over, I won't abandon you. Take a breather. Take your libations. Let that vigor seep back into your bones. Get hungry.
That wasn't a 9. But it knew you. Very well. I don't know what that was.
A good question. The Winnower is a cosmic principle behind the darkness. Alongside the gardener, it existed before the universe as a metaphysical flower game. While the gardener believed life should be given endless opportunities to grow and diversify, the Winnower believed that existence should be tested through struggle, allowing only what can survive to endure. The conflict between these 2 philosophies ultimately gave birth to the universe and shaped the eternal struggle between light and darkness. So I'd like to take a moment to just talk about the cutscene we've seen. First of all, it looks like something has reached through time and space and has taken control of Lodi the way that the 9 take control of Lodi. We don't necessarily know that this is the Winnower per se, however, there is a lot here that the Winnower talks about. I'll probably go into further detail on this when I do my Pantheon of the Gods video. I've mentioned that several times, but it does stand to reason that from what I hear and see from that cutscene, that was the Winnower saying two key things. I'll focus on those because I'm aware that other lore content creators will also touch on more of these things in all sorts of different detail, but I want to keep us locked in on this whole, numbers 1 all the way through to 6 dimensions, and I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. But the Winnower is essentially saying it knows what's going on, and it has known since the beginning that even the outcome that the Nine attempt to untangle themselves from, it is fully aware of the conclusion of those outcomes. And towards the end of what the Winnower shares, it's very deliberate in wording that seems very close to what 3 said before she passed away. But essentially, the Winnower is suggesting that we keep the Nine bound to Soul. Because at the end of everything, the end game is the Winnower. And this is pretty terrifying. I'm also extremely frustrated, and I'll go into that probably towards the end of the video because I think that's where it would be relevant. But here we have something very interesting. We know that light and darkness are both two forms of light. The heads or tail to a coin, the trowel to the knife, however you want to look at it. All aspects of these twin deities, let's say, involves working with one another outside of being present or just elsewhere. And so far we understand that everything that we faced up until now hasn't been the Winnower, and the voice in the darkness was actually the Winnower and not the Witness. The Witness was just mimicking, and the Witness even confirmed it in the Salvation's Edge raid, which is that it is not the Winnower. It is the first knife. It claims to be the first knife that the Winnower used. So it's very interesting too, because obviously we have had other lore entries where the Witness and later on the Winnower goes into detail about how it is making this offer to others and that we aren't the first. So I think that these are very important contexts to frame as we move into the rest of this video. But I wanted to give my take here and just give you all a rough idea of what I'm thinking and what a lot of this means. I'll go into more detail as we move through, but I think that this is essential for us to just pin this note on the side as we dive a little bit deeper. As Guardians began to understand Prismatic and their role in the universe from the perspective of the Nine, it created opportunities for tearing down the divide between light and darkness. This is when a new kind of voice rose up, a whisper. Not of the Traveler or Witness, but something primordial. Some wonder if the Winnower isn't just a fourth-dimensional being like the Nine, but something even more vast. Fifth, maybe sixth-dimensional? Something that speaks not only to our power, but our place and purpose in the grand scheme of the universe. At the end of Final Shape, we received a message from the Winnower, speaking to us directly. Listen to what it had to say.
Even the most perfect of pearls has grit at its center. Let's chat, shall we? One more nice sit down for the books. Did you think you wouldn't hear from me again? After all this? You'd have missed me, I hope, and I would have certainly have missed you. Have no fear. I'm not so easy to be rid of. Now, let me show you my beloved. Oh no, not my sedimentary necrolite fossilized in time. You've seen that. I speak of that dear and distant expanse of the universe. miraculous in its fullness and its emptiness all at once. Are you surprised to hear of it? Yes, I never much cared for the change of rules, but here we are, and there is no use in crying over spilled radiolaria. Besides, at the heart of it all, there was a gift to me. That gift is a chance to speak to you and a billion like you. I'm making this offer over and over again. In every tiniest cell and vastest of civilizations, let me in. Take what you need. Be at ease. You have no say in the degradation of your telomeres, but in all the interim, the whole world is your sweet, silicate shellfish. You exist because you have been more suited to it than all the others. Steal what you require from another rather than spend the hours to build it yourself. Break foolish rules. Why would you love regulation? It serves you to cross lines. And if others needed rules to protect them, then they were not after or worthy of that existence. Caricatures of villainy are out of style, I hear. Yes, I'm no cackling mastermind. I am serious when I say this. It was not the trick of standing upright that lifted you from the dust. It was the mastery of fire, the cooking of cold corpse meat. That is not any unique faction's province, neither good nor evil. It is simply truth. This great, beloved cosmos, always decaying, always finding that same old lovely pattern, despite every candle flame, burning amid the flowers, a billion electrons taking the path of least resistance, in darkness or in light. Someone is always making my choice. Be seeing you.
Using both light and darkness in Destiny opened a channel of communication between us and beings on a higher plane of existence. Remember that scene in Avengers where Nick Fury complains that the grudge match between a god and a god's plaything leveled an entire town? And Thor replied, "It's your work with the Tesseract that sends a signal to the Nine Realms Earth is ready for a higher form of war." Although this situation in Destiny is slightly different, I think we can learn something from it in order to understand this lore entry. The Winnower is explaining that throughout the expanse of the universe, life continues to struggle, despite the change of the rules the Gardener wanted to employ. Still, it is making the same offer across the cosmos, time and time again, to let the darkness in and be at ease, explaining neither paracausal light nor darkness are evil. Simply put, someone is always making a choice. Destiny has a pantheon of otherworldly gods and monsters alike, but the Nine specifically open up another level of Destiny's narrative that hasn't truly been touched on too much. This is something I have noticed and hinted at in several videos in the past. 3's death marked the beginning of a shift, the rift tearing into a new world. So, for a moment imagine there are 6 dimensions in existence within Destiny, and each represents who or what we experience within Destiny. The first dimension, which operates within fundamental building blocks, points, energy, or basic unit existence. The second dimension, structure and patterns, basic arrangements of building blocks, molecules, simple systems, and interactions. The third dimension, where all sentient life exists in the universe, 3D. Complex matter existing in space, planets, people, civilizations, and tangible reality. On the fourth dimension is where time and causality thrive. It is also the Vex's territory. This will include past, present, future. Causal actions with consequences that may happen later on. This is the realm the Nine exists in. There is very little known or understood about the fourth dimension, because until the Nine made their presence known to us, it was mostly theoretical even within Destiny's lore. Finally, we have the fifth dimension, a complete unknown. But the way I understand the function of each entity, at least between the Nine and the Winnower, is they are able to influence and see into realms below them. For the Winnower, this would naturally include everything from its own dimension down to the very first dimension. You know this to be partly true from reading lore books like Unveiling and Constellations. A great lore book to read, by the way, if you have had the time. Finally, the sixth dimension. Based on Destiny's lore, this would be the realm of concepts, archetypes, and cosmic principles. An entry from Unveiling, aptly called The Final Shape, shares a notion from the Winnower itself, suggesting at the beginning, both it and the Gardener were given their assigned dominions, and always would. The word here is extremely ambiguous, and flirts with the idea of someone or something placing the Gardener and the Winnower in the garden to do their jobs that they were designed to do. In the Narkray lore entry, the Winnower tells us what it thinks about humanity, that in the grand game, there is nothing special or unique about Guardians or humanity of the Lost City, even though the Gardener is convinced by us and has placed our Milky Way galaxy above the rest. I don't know how much of this is true, but we can at least understand that the logic of darkness came from the Winnower, and he makes the same offer to every civilization across all time and space. What a higher dimension looks like, only time will tell, but there is certainly some big things cooking with the details the Winnower just shared. I know they are trying to flee, that is the Nine, and now he or she or it is deliberately telling us to bind them to Sol for good. I cannot say that my heart isn't filled with sadness or even anger toward the fact that Destiny didn't get to reach its greatest potential. And I cannot help but think, why wait? Why now? People have signed in to play Destiny this week alone. We're talking about returning veteran players and new lights. You need only scroll through Blue Sky or any other social media to realize just how many people never had the opportunity to experience Destiny 2's story to the fullest for themselves. The narrative team. God bless them. I can unbiasedly say I appreciate the socks off them. They really delivered something special without restrictions, and I can only imagine what Shattered Cycle would have looked like. If Sony were able to allow Shattered Cycle to be released, I can assure you Destiny 2 would quickly sell copies. You as the community made a lot of noise, and Bungie feels it. and Sony for sure knows it. I have no doubt that Destiny 3 as a conversation keeps coming up internally, as the team looks for pivoting solutions to get a fresh Destiny IP greenlit. If it were me, I would go back, further than the Guardians and the walls of the Last City, and start a Destiny story with everyone being an Iron Lord, and I would call it the Dark Age, or Iron Age. Something to invoke the incredible lore Destiny has, which predates a lot of the experiences we've come to know and love in Destiny. But that's all I have for you. I'd like to take a moment to thank you for your continued viewing. It has been so life-giving getting to talk about Destiny again, its lore and other universe like Guild Wars 2 and 3. I'm looking forward to making more lore videos as time goes on. So if you did enjoy this one, please do give it a like, comment below, consider subscribing and click the bell to find out when my next lore videos go live. Remember that no matter what you're facing at this moment in time, you can do all things. Stay safe and Godspeed.